There's actually been a very long and varied history to the zombie film, pre-Night of the Living Dead. The zombie movie started as far back as 1932 with Bela Lugosi in White Zombie. And initially this had to do with the Haitian folklore concept of what a zombie was. From that point on, up until Night of the Living Dead, there were about 40 to 50 zombie movies that I could find anyway. And subject matter always changed throughout the decades. In the 40s, there were a lot of comedies, Ghost Breakers with Bob Hope. So zombies were sort of played for laughs for a while. In the 50s, there were a lot of films in which aliens came down and used the dead as muscle in their plots to take over the world. Night of the Living Dead in '68 changed everything because the zombies no longer followed his voodoo master. They were their own. They had their own will and their own instincts, and that was flesh, basically, to eat. Those zombies, I mean, when they ate flesh, they went for it. It was disturbing. People hadn't seen cannibalism on display in a cinema screen like this.
It's original. It's very original. It's nothing comes close to it. And really, it's the first zombie film that came out, and you know, Romero set the stage for the slow-moving zombies and the eating the flesh. But it was one of the best, to me, the Universal monsters were until 1968, that was the hype, you know, the Wolfman, Frankenstein, Dracula. When Night of the Living Dead came out in '68, that changed the horror genre again. Now you have something else to look at, and you don't have Frankenstein scary anymore. Now you got something else. And to me, Romero's Night of the Living Dead started new sets of horror.
There's absolutely no question that George Romero is an extremely influential independent filmmaker, and he provided inspiration for so many creative people who not only love the horror genre, but love film, and I think that he deserves a great amount of respect for that.
I met George in 1962 when he started a company called Leighton Image, and I joined up with him as a still photographer. But as the years progressed, I became his DP and cinematographer. Principally, that's shooting and lighting. Stayed with George until '72. Had a pretty good relationship with George. He was my best man at my wedding, and I married George's secretary and Girl Friday. And still have a good relationship with George as a great guy. Night of the Living Dead is going to be there for years and years and years and years, and that's me up there. That's pretty damn neat. Nice to live with that.
It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder. A widespread investigation of reports from funeral homes, morgues, and hospitals has concluded that the unburied dead are coming back to life and seeking human victims.
Hello, I'm Charles Craig, newsman appearing in Night of the Living Dead. It's a pleasure to be with you, and it was interesting at the outset of the script, the planning stages of this film. I was an employee of Hardman and Associates in those days. We were busily involved in creating and recording radio commercials and doing live industrial shows across the country. Well, George Romero, with Night of the Living Dead, started the regeneration of public interest in the horror film genre. And I think he is rightfully to be acknowledged as, in some cases, people refer to him as the godfather of the modern horror film genre. And that's true, because until Night of the Living Dead came out, there was nothing like it being attempted. And the timing was, well, there was a good bit of serendipity involved in this, because the timing was perfect, unbeknownst to us, because there was no way to pre-gauge the public's reaction or interest or response to this film, because I don't think anybody realized that the film was going to take off the way it did. From its theatrical debut in 1968, from there on, it has been a continuing story. And Night of the Living Dead continues to live. We're not dead, and don't intend to be. The film has a life of its own, thanks to the fans.